No, I don't mean Robert Pattinson's girlfriend. She is so much more than that. I came in with so much energy. Oh my gosh. Hi, my name is Gracie, and this is what happens when you watch one too many episodes of Daisy Jones and the Six. How's your day going? I'm in a good mood. Do you want to know why I'm in a good mood? Why are you in a good mood? Oh my gosh, thank you so much for asking. So stupid. I'm in a good mood because I had a hyperfixation and God, it felt good. What happened is my sister and my mom were reading this book and I was like, that's like weird. They're big readers. I'm not really a big reader, so whatever. And then I was driving to work and I was like, I don't really have anything to listen to on my drive to work today. And I was like, what was that book they were talking about again? And then I fell down a rabbit hole and that rabbit hole took me to this moment. Suki Waterhouse is an English model, actress, and musician who first appeared in our public consciousness in 2014 when she went to the SAG Awards with Bradley Cooper, where she was described as a skinny starlet. And the question on everyone's mind was, who is this girl? Well, I'm about to tell you. This is the story of Suki Waterhouse.
My name's Suki Waterhouse, and this is a little video about me.
Alice Waterhouse was born in 1922, where she did theater and karate on the weekends. She actually has a brown belt in karate, like, no joke. She was scouted at a party when she was 14, but didn't start modeling until she was 16. She said it was a way to get out of school and away from her parents, and that she didn't take it too seriously. I don't know what motivated her to keep going, but a few years later, 20-year-old Suki Waterhouse was picking up real traction in the industry. She'd done a major campaign for Marks & Spencer, and she'd just started doing a couple minor acting roles. She'd always had a really distinct style, with her first articles on her talking about her neo-mod style reminiscent of the 60s. She also is childhood friends with Cara Delevingne, which like doesn't really ever become important, but I feel like it's something to mention. I don't know. Then 2013 careens in, and Suki Waterhouse is seen with boyfriend Bradley Cooper. Suki was the face of Burberry, and only thing people were talking about was Bradley Cooper. I also found a really demeaning Daily Mail article from her in 2013, and like people were mean to her. I'm the same age as she was in 2013, and dude, I could not have taken it. This is what Waterhouse had to say about mean comments. I try not to look at that stuff. Am I gonna do a British accent the whole time? Sure, I guess. We'll dedicate to the accent. We've got to dedicate. I try not to look at that stuff. In reality, if there are 200 people commenting on something online, it's less than a grain of salt in the huge beach of humanity. Who cares? I just want to work and do stuff to the best possible quality and be a good friend. And she was working hard. She's a hard-working woman. She's described as a girl whose star is on ascendant. What? A girl whose star is on the ascendant. Okay. The point is, she was packing up real traction, and the number of articles around this time in 2013 just like quadruple. Then suddenly it's 2014, and the Cut reports Suki Waterhouse and Bradley Cooper's relationship has ended. I think they dated for a year and a half, maybe 2 years max. And you know what? Articles about Suki drop significantly. She continues modeling and acting and even designed a shoe, apparently. She also is in a movie called Love, Rosie with Sam Claflin around this time, and she said that her modeling agency just said that she moved around too much, and so they put her in on an audition for a film. But she kept acting, so I guess it worked out. I guess there's nothing else to talk about in 2014, right? No, I found her SoundCloud. We are absolutely about to listen to her SoundCloud.
I hallucinate your love. I hallucinate. Cupped hands hovering at a tricky lighter, and I see a four-leaved clover.
Okay, let's move a little bit quicker. 2015, Suki gets highlighted in Vogue Italia, British Vogue, and GQ, but her most important achievement in 2015 is getting an entry in I'm struggling is that she got a page in Halsey's fan wiki. So, and I genuinely laughed so hard when I saw this page in her wiki. It was so funny. 2015, she finally debuts her first song on streaming called Brutally. Nylon described it as guitar and a lofty verb. It sounds like Lana Del Rey, deep cut mixed with Joni Mitchell. In the same 2 years, she had a minor role in Insurgent, a leading role in the film The Bad Batch, as well as Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. And first of all, do you remember that film coming out? I remember Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I remember the one with Lincoln too. Really weird time for movies all around. I I can't believe that Pride and Prejudice and Zombies came out in 2016. That feels like forever ago. That's crazy. 2017 was more of the same for Suki. She's in a film called The Girl Who Invented Kissing, which honestly is a really good title. And I have no idea if the movie is good or not, but I just wanted to mention that the title is really good. There's also a really good interview from 2017 talking about the film The Bad Batch. She talks about her career blossoming at 19 when she did a lingerie ad for Marks and Spencer and then became the face of Burberry and the start of her music. The article talks about her burgeoning career in acting and how she doesn't want to do any dumb roles that don't try to do anything hard. She also says this about herself. If you saw me on the street, you wouldn't notice me. I'm like 2 stones heavier than all of them and 2 inches shorter than all of them. I'm just not that good looking. 2017 was also the fantastic year. Suki Waterhouse released her song Good Looking. It's her only song to break the top 100 in the UK charts, and it would go viral on TikTok 7 years later. I don't even exactly know who this song is about, but an article called How Suki Waterhouse and Poppy Jamie Became Best Friends and Why Catherine Newton Would Love a Second Season of Big Little Lies. It talks about how in April of 2017, Suki had a party to celebrate the premiere of her spring/summer collection. The article isn't really interesting, but this subheading is. Hari Nef, Robert Pattinson, Courtney Love, and more celebrate Pop and Suki. Wait a second. Wait, let me read that again. Oh shit. W Magazine. Did you do something here? Hari Nef, Robert Pattinson, Courtney Love. Is it really time to talk about Robert Pattinson? So soon? I mean, are you sure I can't stall? I think I can stall a little bit. You know what? I cannot think of a better time to talk about a couple of misconceptions and fun facts that I couldn't fit into the story earlier. Where did the name Suki come from? The answer might surprise you. That was stupid. Suki means beautiful in Japanese, and she says that she's always been called Suki. She jokes about the similarity of her name between the main character of True Blood named Suki Stackhouse. At the beginning of her career, she went by Suki Alice Waterhouse, with her original website under the domain name SukiAlice.com, where she posted photos of herself and her friends. Suki has said that she loves photography, and I'd assume most of the photos that she posted on her old website were probably ones she took herself. Also, was Suki really discovered at 14 at a party, or was she discovered at 18 in a pub, or possibly while she was shopping? Who knows? Well, I know. I know that she wasn't discovered at a pub in 2016 because she said, I don't know where that comes from. It's so weird. It's always there. It's quite funny, though. It's quite an English story, isn't it? But, big BUT here. Her wiki cites a video from 2019 where she said she was discovered at a Topshop or an H&M. And the claim of 16 years old comes from a Heavy article. I think that the Heavy article is actually the origin of the pub rumor, because that Heavy article cites a daily entertainment news article which says that she was discovered at 16 and then dropped out of school for modeling. 2 things. There is no pub statement, so I think Heavy invented that in their article. Also, I don't think Suki dropped out of school. I mean, nothing else I've read corroborates that. I don't think she dropped out of school. In 2012, Suki says that I got discovered when I was about 14 at a party in Oxford Circus. Then she says she wasn't quite sure if she wanted to model, but came back to it at 16. I have no idea what an Oxford circus is, but in 2012, Suki is much closer to 2008 Suki than 2019 Suki, which that was kind of confusing. But what I just mean is memories change and shift over time, and so unless she was lying, the one from 2012 is probably more likely to be true. August 1st, 2018, Elle reports Robert Pattinson and Suki Waterhouse are reportedly only casually dating now. Following the trail backwards through citations, July 30th, Elle reports Robert Pattinson and Suki Waterhouse are now dating and kissing on the street. The same day, People, Elle, E! News, W! Magazine, Yahoo, and other news articles post photos of Suki and Robert walking together and kissing on the street. E! News is the one who posted the photos originally, and it's photographing them leaving the theater after watching Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, iconic, and then going out drinking together.
Insouciant.
The next day, E! News reports Insider says Robert Pattinson and Suki Waterhouse's romance is casual, where the two Brits are definitely into each other. Just like in 2014 with Bradley Cooper, the tabloids were asking, who is Suki Waterhouse? W! Magazine, who maybe deserves more credit in all of this, said that Suki Waterhouse is an actress, a model, and a budding entrepreneur, which kind of goats. There are some horrible Twilight puns in the articles I read, and honestly, it made me understand why Robert Pattinson hates Twilight. There isn't a lot else reported about Suki Waterhouse in 2018 besides this relationship, but she was working. She has 5 movie credits, 1 TV show credit, a new song called Valentine. She also continued modeling, of course, and has a spotlight in Vogue. 2019 was a good year for Suki. First of all, she's in Detective Pikachu, which meant I gotta watch that movie again just for this video. And Detective Pikachu has like a really killer second act. It's a pretty solid movie. She's also credited. She's also credited. She's also credited in the following movies: Bittersweet Symphony, Killers Anonymous, A Rainy Day in New York, and Burn. The same year, she's also spotlighted in Amo Ferragamo, where she's described as, oh, what is this word? This is what happens when I copy and paste things and don't read them. Insouciant?
Insouciant.
She's spotlighted as the face of Amo Ferragamo, where she's described as insouciant, cheeky, bold. The multi-hyphenate is a little gritty, very beautiful, but above all else, a lot of fun, which is probably the nicest thing anyone has ever said about her. I mean, multi-hyphenate? I didn't even know what that word meant. She also becomes the face of Amazon's Look Like You ad campaign, which is so random that I just really wanted to put that in. That same year, Waterhouse released 2 singles called The Coolest Place in the World and Joanna. She also releases music videos for both songs, including Good Looking in 2019. According to a comment on Good Looking, Suki hit her arm on the ceiling fan swinging around the room and cut her arm open. So the blood in the video is real, and I keep flip-flopping on whether I believe that this is true. Hi, I am Gracie from 3 days in the future. When I was doing more research, and I should have changed clothes for this effect to work better, but whatever. I was watching literally every TikTok that Suki Waterhouse has ever made, where she corroborates the story of cutting her arm on the ceiling fan. And so I guess the comment was right and the blood is real. Oh no, I'm being sucked back into the future. Oh, but before I move on from this, her song Joanna is gay. I didn't even do that very well. The point is, 2019 is really the year that I'd say Suki Waterhouse started taking her music seriously. I don't know if that's the right word. In one interview, she says that she finally got over my fear of playing a show and had a gig lined up each week. I'm not sure how many gigs she did in 2019, but her music was about to become a much larger part of her career. Before I leave 2019, I have a couple last things to say. Suki Waterhouse and Robert Pattinson continue dating. Robert also says something really interesting about relationships and fame. He says that if you let people in, it devalues what love is. If a stranger on the street asks you about your relationship, you think it's extremely rude. If you put your If you put up a wall, it ends better. I cannot understand how someone can walk down the street holding hands, and it's the same when I do it and 100 people are looking at your photo. The line between when you're performing and when you're not will eventually get washed away and you'll go completely mad. It was horrid. That accent was horrible. When Suki was dating Bradley Cooper, she says that if she starts talking about a relationship, she would never stop. I thought that when she said this, it was more of a statement about how much she is in love. And if she started talking about her boyfriend, then she wouldn't want to stop because she'd want to keep talking and saying more about him. But I realize it's actually because she'd never stopped being asked questions about her boyfriends. It's interesting. It's just really interesting. And I don't really have a segue out of this, but I found an article named Shy Girls Like Parties Too, which is a horrible title. But it intrigued me because there was something interesting in the names of people in attendance. Suki Waterhouse, obviously, or I wouldn't bring this up, but also Camila Morone, which might be an important name later. 2020, and there was a little pandemic going on. But you know what was also going on? TikTok. Suki Waterhouse gets a TikTok on the clock. Ladies and gentlemen, she also moves in with Robert Pattinson. And an article breaks this news like this. This is not a joke. This is really what the article says. The fantasy of Instagram is perfectly pressed sheets and plants with leaves that are never curling towards death. It is a lie, and nowhere is it worse than in celebrity uploads. Perhaps that is what makes this mysterious and messy London flat, where Suki Waterhouse and Robert Pattinson have been seeing out the pandemic together, so fascinating. I genuinely don't blame the writer for how bad this article is, but oh my gosh, I laughed aloud reading this article. This article is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. The pictures were only ever of her, but when you know there was only... What does this even say? The pictures were only ever of her, but when you know only one other person has been allowed inside this house, the intrigue of the person behind the camera has become a cat and mouse game between subject and audience. The shots from Robert Pattinson and Suki's secret house feel different, like catching glimpses of a den they've made playhouse in. A fantasy couple who have moved in together now because of lockdown and are now surviving on bottles of Ribena Light and Jewel pods. The backdrops aren't curated. Instead, iPhone cables snake across the carpet and guitars are left leaning against the wall. It's an apartment. It's a flat. People are crazy. Oh my god. Once again, I don't blame the writer for this article. The author clearly states that celebrity news was scant, and I suspect that they were putting in like a little spice just to make this extra and bring in more news to the news traction, to the website. Although Suki doesn't release any music in 2020, her music video for Neon Lights comes out and she speaks to Du Jour about the future of her music. There isn't really anything of note in this article, but every article I directly cite will be in the description below because I want to make sure that you can get the full context for everything I say. I forgot to mention, Suki does 2 movies in 2020, one called Misbehavior with Keira Knightley, and the other being Broken Hearts Gallery. Okay, let's go! 2021, 2021. Baby, I can't believe it, we're already in 2021. It feels like 2021 was so long ago. What was I doing in 2021? 2020, I don't remember 2021. That's wow. Well, I'm going to tell you what happened was going on. Well, I'm going to tell you what was going on in Suki Waterhouse's life. She signed on to Sub Pop Records and released My Mind and Moves, which might honestly be my favorite song of hers besides Neon Lights. She is also in a horror movie called Seance and another movie called Creation Stories. She continues dating Robert Pattinson and gets called Suki Nobody on that bad Gossip Girl reboot. And she did not appreciate that comment. In response to the episode, she tweeted, "Another day to be reminded that women can also be the patriarchy, at Gossip Girl, at Lily Fine, as well as seeing critiques of the patriarchy and sexism. Then I get name checked as somebody's nobody girlfriend. Make it make sense." I'm not an owl. The exact quote from the show was, "As far as press is concerned, he's our Pats and you're Suki nobody." Horrible, horrible. Almost impeccable in how horrible that quote is. Like, oh gosh. She deserved to clap back. She fully deserved to say something about how horrible that quote was. Man, that sucks. Come on, doggy. There you go. Suki also does an interview with Tatler in which she says that she'd rather listen to Evermore by Taylor Swift than the Spice Girls. And I just feel like for me, that was the right answer. Also, in an announcement that she makes about joining Sub Pop Records, she says, "I've been dreaming up this album for years. When I've been stuck or feel out of touch with a sense of inner meaning or out of purpose, I found both through searching my memories and finding those events very deep in the shadowy areas of my psyche where they were ignored. The album is an exploration of those moments where there is nothing left to lose. What is left and what can't be thrown away is the self." When Waterhouse refers to the record, she talks about it as something she's been working on it for 10 years. She talks about moments in her life, like Jack White telling her she looks like Susie Quattro, or being a screaming drunk girl with the amps turned up really loud and playing the electric guitar. I just really love how she speaks about the album. The excitement of knowing something good is about to happen is just elation. It's incredible. However, before we move on, I just have to interject about one thing here. There's a really good interview with Extra TV that Suki does where she talks about her movie Seance. And in the interview, I almost busted out laughing when she said this. She says, "I tell everyone I had a brown belt, but it was definitely a blue belt." Come on, Suki. Okay, so this is some inside baseball. I read an article that said she had a black belt, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then I read an article that said she had a brown belt, and I was like, oh, that's more realistic. They probably embellished it for the first article. Only for you now, to tell me that you're the one who's been exaggerating? Cruel of you. 2022. We are getting to the part of the video where I get a little loopy because I've been working on this for a long time. Good Looking goes viral on TikTok, or at least, I don't know, the sped up version. I skimmed some of the TikToks and it doesn't look like the song was part of any like specific trend. It was just people vibing with it. Speaking of music, 2022 was the year Suki Waterhouse's first album came out. The record is called I Can't Let Go. The album is described as 10 tracks of sweeping Americana with heart on its sleeve lyrics that stands somewhere between Taylor Swift's simplicity and Del Rey's fatalism. Later in the year, she'd also released Milk Teeth, her EP with all of her old singles, plus a new song fans had been asking for to be released on streaming called Neon Lights. Actually, can I mention something for a second? The past couple of years, I mean, timeline-wise, have been really, really great articles getting posted about Suki. Like, they don't just talk about her relationships or her body. There are interviews talking about her inspiration and showing genuine interest in her. It's just been really, really nice while researching to read about articles that actually seem like they're done by great interviewers and great writers. Speaking of great writing, there's an article from the Independent UK in which Waterhouse says, "I can't remember where I was or what I was doing. I only remember life by who I was in love with at that time or how long it took me to recover." That article is really, really good. It's so well written. Like, maybe even more well written than these things are. What? A lot of articles about her album talk about how breakup music has taken over the music industry and how Suki's album is downcast and languid, full of intimate confessions and romantic vagaries? Vagaries?
Vagary.
Full of intimate confessions of romantic vagary, perfectly content to curl up in a ball and pretty cry. I mean, isn't that well written? Come on. It continues, Waterhouse has been viewed through the gazes of the men in her life like Bradley Cooper, Diego Luna, and since 2018, Robert Pattinson. Reflecting, Waterhouse says, I think I was just a baby. You're not really sure what your accomplishments are when you're that age. You're in love and you don't care. For a long time, she didn't even think her story belonged to her. You start to believe that the narrative is decided for you. It is owned by something outside of you. And then when you actually realize that nobody knows the narrative, you know the narrative. It's a great article. Come on. I should have literally just posted a video of me reading this article. I mean, Annabelle, you wrote a great article, and like, I can't even be upset about it. 2022 was also the historic year that Suki Waterhouse and Robert Pattinson showed up to the red carpet together for Dior's fall collection in Giza, which is great. Apparently, they'd shown up to carpets before separate and then met together later in the event, but they'd never walked a carpet together. And I've actually seen this photo of them before, so I'm assuming that's how I learned Suki Waterhouse's name originally. And remember earlier when that one article was desperate to see the inside of their apartment? Well, Suki did an article with Architectural Digest about her West London flat. And look at these photos. Great place. Love the kitchen. Really cute. Love the color scheme too. It's really, really nice. And okay, let's get all this out of here. What have I talked about? The album, check. She had a movie release called Dollyland. Great stuff. I mean, I don't know if the movie's great, but you know, good for her. I don't know if I want to do it. Like, I don't want to go to 2023. I don't want this to end. Like, I mean, I've stalled a lot, you know, but I can't stall forever. Eventually, this video has to end. Like, all right, let's do it. Welcome to 2023. My name is Gracie, and it's finally time to talk about what she's been doing these past months. The crazy thing is that I know she's going to do even more this year. She's going to be probably in more movies, more films, more accomplishments. I am just so excited to see what she does next. And I know for a fact I'm going to be like, damn, would have loved to put that in the video. Okay, for real. I've already revealed this in the intro, but the reason I know who Suki Waterhouse is because she played Karen Serko in Daisy Jones and the Six, and Karen goated. Karen in the book isn't even as good as Karen is in the show. Actually, she's just different. The message is the medium, and Karen's message had to change when the medium changed from a book to a TV show, and it was a good change. For Daisy Jones and the Six, Suki had to learn piano and then went to a boot camp with all of her co-stars. Remember when I told you to remember Camila Morone? She's in the show, and she's gorgeous. She's so pretty. I also mentioned Sam Claflin earlier on purpose, so you know, I got a big brain up here. The show is really popular. Like, I'm not even going to pretend Daisy Jones and the Six wasn't a huge book before it became a really successful TV show. I think the only reason I hyperfixated on Suki's character is because she has great hair. There's been a lot of commentary about Suki's hair over the years and how she lied about washing her hair with Coca-Cola to being described as perpetually post-coital. The masses have known Suki has incredible hair, but the haircut they gave for Karen is so good. It's such a good haircut. Honestly, any person with a great haircut, I'm just like, oh, I'm like, amazing. What else has she done this year? Lots of music, lots of interviews, 70 tour dates, still dating Robert Pattinson, absolutely killing it. She also released a new song called To Love earlier this year, which was originally supposed to go on her second album, so that means that there's going to be a second album. There was an article with the headline, Suki Waterhouse is the it girl you're underestimating. And I think that's a really fantastic way to describe it. And I'm doing the and I guess that's it. I mean, yeah, sorta. She's gonna do more in her career. I actually think she's on an upswing in her career right now. I haven't done a career exploration like this since Ali and AJ, and I've got the same thing to say about Suki as I said about those duo. Suki Waterhouse is not perfect. She's not. I don't think she deserves to be idolized like she has no flaws or she's made no mistakes in her life. I am aware that her relationship with me, or my relationship with her, I guess, is only parasocial. We have no real relationship with each other, and we will never have a real relationship with each other. I do not exist to her in a good way. I don't know. This feels kind of like lampshading now, but whatever. I mean, as a little wrap up, I've decided I'm gonna do all these sitting down from now on because I used to sit down in my dorm and I don't like standing. It's really awkward and it's not extremely fun to stand up during these because they take me a long time to film. I'll see you in a month. Another month, another video. What's the video going to be about? I started a Mario Kart 8 ranking, but with the booster tracks coming out, there's just going to be like more content added, and I just don't want to like do a ranking and like a month or two later new tracks come out. But subscribe, screw boop. I don't know what that was. But subscribe or something if you want to see whatever happens next. This is kind of a ramble, but honestly, when is it not a ramble? Take care of yourself. I will see you again. Oh wait, I almost forgot. This TikTok made me laugh so hard, I almost cried. So please enjoy.
Yeah, you